Recording is on.
All right. So we're recording now. One of the biggest tools that you ever have or in your arsenal of tools, especially around creating content, is Canva. Canva, for the most part, the free tier, obviously because it's a free tier, so it will limit you to some things. But in my own opinion, the amount of things you can still do with the free tier is unbelievable. So I'm going to show you an example here. Let me share my screen on Canva and then show you what I do and what I mean. So even though I have a paid account for Canva, I deliberately I'm using a free account to show you, some things here. So again, the first step, as I mentioned earlier, will be to create a banner, right? The way I like to think about it and I like to tell most people is keep everything you have done in three. Having worked, having come from a Nigerian, working background, and then moving into, we have messages. Right? Having come from a Nigerian working background, for those of you that don't know me very well, I am a core like software developer guy. Right? So the main software guy is the one that write the code behind. So that's the kind of thing I do. I realize that we tend to get stuck in a lot of, you know, because of the way our working culture is structured in Nigeria, we tend to overlook a lot of things and how to document things. So having come here and then being a part of the working force, in my own experience, I would say break down everything you're doing into three categories. So the first thing will be what, right? So the question what now can spread across, you know, what do you do? Who are you? What should they know about you? Right? And then the next category will be so what? So which is why should these things matter to them? So if you say you're a software developer, why should I care a software developer? Maybe you've been one of the teams that has done XYZ application that has done something or created a major impact. So that's the so what part, and then the last part will be now what, meaning okay, now that we have this information about you and what you do, what should where should we come in? So in most cases, you see that if you're able to break things down, not just in three, but at least in smaller categories, you'll be able to fine tune your profile. So moving back to Canva, let's give an example. Say you want to create your own banner. So Canva today now already allows you to sort of search for what you want. So in this case, I'll simply just do LinkedIn banner. It already knows the dimensions for the LinkedIn banner, which is at the one at the top. So Canva already knows the dimensions for that, so you can see lots of samples. These are free versions. The free versions, so you can pick any one of your choice and modify it. And when you're done, let's say you want to use this one for example, right? Let's look for something like very simple. Okay, Oliver Wilson looks nice. Okay, this is a paid one. Let's see if we can filter it to just the free versions again because we're on the free tier. Okay, this one's with crowns. I think are paid versions. Okay, for one that is nice. Well, because of time, we'll just pick this one. So you click on customize template, right? This is Canva now doing this work. So obviously, in your own Canva page, be it on mobile, I think Canva also a mobile app, which is very good. I personally use the mobile app in most cases to do my designs whenever I can, but I prefer to use laptop because it's a much bigger screen. But you get the drift. So once you're done, you can style it and obviously export it. Again, Canva gives you tons and tons of free resources, so you don't need to pay for everything. But again, as you expect, if you pay for stuff, you get better visibility or better access to templates and elements like arrows and all that stuff. But you can still do a lot with the free tier. So let's say you are done with this one, you change the name. Just for example purposes, I'll change the name here, but you can be anything you want. You know how to resize your text so it falls in line. And under here, again, you can see this banner. It's already telling you about the person, which is their name, what they do is clearly highlighted there. Then obviously ways to contact them. In my own case, because I wanted to just keep everything on my LinkedIn profile page, I only highlighted like the three core parts of my career path, which is I like to build applications. I'm also an innovator, and then I speak at some events. But the bottom line is your banner should be like an immediate, advert of you. Pick three main core parts of your career path and focus on them. I know most people say, oh, they don't know or they don't have any core parts of their career. I don't think that's true because if you actually think about it, there must be something that you can break that into three steps, no matter how small it is. So all it takes, like I said, is a lot is all of these tools and then consistency to be able to sit down and think deeply about your career path as a whole. If you're stuck on the directions to go about it, you can seek something like help from a mentor, anybody you regard as a mentor, or again do some research. In most cases, even myself, I wasn't even sure of the innovator part, and I think it goes a step further to show that sometimes you may be you may feel like you know something, but maybe if you feel there's a bit of imposter syndrome, it will halt you from actually going further, which is what we're going to anyway. I think towards the whole content posting part on LinkedIn, but that's a few minutes down the line. So your banner is your first thing, right? It should be a sort of advertisement of you. Try to put your face as much as possible. You're not a ghost, so you want people to be able to attach your face to the name, so that your name doesn't just go unnoticed. So, for example, if I think somebody that does it well will be these guys from old school. I like to use them a lot because I think they're one of the most relatable Nigerian educational brands I've seen. And they tend to their customers or their clients don't just follow them because of easy learning, because obviously they can learn from Udemy and other platforms, but they tend to follow old school because it speaks to the Nigerian in all of us. But away from that, I'm trying to point to having, to attach a face to a name, or at least a semblance to a name. This guy, Hack Sultan, I think now he's called on Twitter. He also wears a mask, but I think he's one of the co-founders of Old School. There is no way you see him, you wouldn't see Old School far behind. Whether it's his tweets, his LinkedIn post or something, and it speaks to show that at every point that you're trying to interact with your audience, always make sure that the main goal, if it's to get them to join a community or to make them to know more about you, the main goal is achieved. Always keep it in mind. In my own case, I wanted people should just see me as three things: I build apps, I innovate, and obviously I speak, like I'm doing now to people. Put a very clear photograph of yourself. Again, something I see personally, I've seen some people, it's not to trash it on anyone on the internet, but I see some people using, some funny DPs that, in my own opinion, are best fit for Facebook, but they put it on LinkedIn because you have to remember that you are trying to portray yourself as a professional. You're trying to portray yourself as a professional, so you wouldn't want to come off as a joke. Again, I'm also a human being like all of us here. I also have different social media profiles, right? Aside from this one from LinkedIn. But I think it goes to start saying that you should understand the audience of any social media platform that you're on before you put media content, especially media content that contains your persona in such light. So use a clear, professional looking photograph, have a clear banner. Then the next part would be your title or titles. People, well, even I myself, when I started using LinkedIn, I used to just jumble up all as much titles as I could in that small, as that was allowed allocated. Put a software developer there, put this, put that. Over time, I began to understand that Your title is supposed to contain keywords, or at least those key roles that you're trying to communicate that you do. So key example is obviously on my own now you can see I'm trying to communicate three things, right? I'm at the point where personally speaking I feel I want to invest my own time in things that are important to me, my own applications that I built, my own community that I'm growing, right? So talent that and this. So by default I'm focusing on the key points I want you to know about me. Obviously if maybe I was more, I think for people that see my profile maybe a few months back, he didn't used to read founder, this used to just read AI software engineer, AI product engineer, and the global tech hero. Because I'll try to communicate the fact that okay, here I am. I'm just trying to communicate as if I am an AI professional. I know how to build applications and I can use AI or embed AI into them. But later on, like I said, the the goal changed. So with that in mind, the title also changed. Some clean examples would be, or the formats would be, see here, I'm trying to get a document I wrote it in. Okay. So the way I like to think about it is I like to break it down, right? And I think it's also appears cleaner when you use these dashes beside, to demarcate each content or each section you want. So the way I like to think about it is put your skills first, right? Your skill, the industry you are in, and then obviously your value. So it could be something like software developer or software engineer. You can list one or two programming languages, followed by your specialty, right? Maybe if you're a software engineer that's mostly focused on building apps in the fintech space, for example, software engineer dash fintech and payments, and then maybe one line to just summarize what you do. Building scalable systems, building scalable backend systems, for example. Another one would be maybe one that is not too developer focused would be something like product designer, right? Or product manager. Product manager, which is the skill, followed by the industry which you belong to, which would be, for example, a product manager that manages or is mostly involved in B2B applications. So product manager dash B2B applications dash then a short sentence about you or what you do, turning users needs into shippable applications, something like that. That way you effectively communicate what you are, yeah, basically the skill you have, the industry you're in, and then the value that you give to your customer or your clients that approach you. If you notice, everything that has been said here is divided into three, because if you keep everything as simple as possible, or if you give yourself limited options, the number of choices that you need to make is reduced. If you give yourself too many options, you now have a problem of too many options. You have to now stop yourself of which one to choose. So try to limit yourself. Always break it down to three. I personally like to keep it down to three because two is division, three is balance in the end. So that way you have a tiebreaker. Everything's always in three. Okay. Thank you guys. So I'm just getting the page up again. No, I think we're getting to the interesting sections soon. Yeah, because these are also introduction sections. Because the main reason I did is because I tend to get a lot of questions of how do I streamline my profile to get all the job offers that I get. I've been opportune to get a lot of offers majorly because of the way my profile is structured. So the top section here, like I mentioned, are mostly contains your banner, your profile picture, obviously your name, and then your title or titles. Like I said, try to split them into as three parts. Focus on the skill, the sector, and then a quick value offer you give them. In my own case, the skill in this case, since I'm focusing more on listening, will be what's it called? I'm a founder of this sector will be obviously AI, so hence AI software engineer, and then my value is I'm a global tech hero, and I bring it that's expertise of being on the global level to whatever I do. Now the key point above all of this is your about section. About section is very critical because as someone who's viewing your profile from the outside world, because it looks different when you're viewing it from your own end, right? But someone who's viewing it from the outside world would you need to break it down. A good structure will be again. Maybe after this session, I'm going to send the document I have here, and there's some bullet points, some checkpoints, so you can use and as a guide to check your own profile. So your about section should contain some key points. Again, as you're progressing, you have to keep in mind the main goal you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to make people see you as available for jobs, or you want to, pass on a particular kind of expertise? You want people to see you as in a light, or an automation engineer, a product engineer, or something like that. So you need to focus on those kind of points. I think the best way to write an about section on LinkedIn, if you break it down into 4 points, you think about it in four bullet points or four numbers. So the first one will be, who are you and what do you do, right? I am this. This is what I do. What do you do best, or basically, what is your core skill? So if you are into programming, what is your major language or major frameworks you use? Proof of achievements. Proof of achievements is very important. We'll see come to this again when we're looking at maybe the expertise or experience section. Proof of achievements is very important because that way you pass, or you send a signal to the recruiter, anybody looking at your page, that okay, I have done XYZ things, and this is not just me saying it. These are the proof to show that, oh yeah, okay, maybe whatever I've done has led to a percentage increase or improvement in user experience, or I've done one or two or three kind of projects, maybe in AI or in product development or something else. And then the last thing would be what you're looking for, or how can people reach you, right? Again, going to my own profile as an example here, break that into four. I think you don't read more. Yeah, see more. So, who am I? I am this. Again, it's all modified to achieve the aim I'm looking for. I'm at the point where I'm founding applications, I'm founding platforms, so I need like minds to see my profile as a viable co-founder. So I need to pass that message. So I introduce myself saying I'm an award-winning AI product architect doing all of this. Again, next point is be what do you do? What's your best skill? I focus more on talent hacks. My skill will be into community building, and trying to make sure that the visa process is streamlined, and my work extends, basically talking about myself. And then I now broke it down into four bullet points, so I focus on one, two, three, four. And then lastly, not just can you connect with me, you can also look for me on XYZ platforms, or you can reach out to me to connect. This way now your profile is communicating something very clear to people. Oh, Tony, so okay, we'll come to your question in the next few minutes, so it'll be easier to answer. All right, guys. Am I okay to continue? Everybody. Okay. I'm assuming that's a yes. So next will be your top skills, right? Whatever skill you have, again, this is just from a programmer perspective. This is my own skills, not to say it must be your own skills. You pick out whatever skills you have the most experience in. You choose what you're most versatile with. In our case, I picked out all the ones that I have here available. So as you can see them, Python programming. If you're into UI UX, again, pick your skills. accordingly. The main thing is when a recruiter is posting a job and they're looking for XYZ skills, if you don't have such skills, obviously you wouldn't get notified and you wouldn't show up on their radar. So because again, these are all like keyword matching. You have to focus on what keywords are they using in your sector currently. If they're into AI, find out what buzzwords are the recruiter looking for. In some cases, you might say, okay, they're looking for certain programming languages, certain platforms, certain frameworks. You might want to add those skills to your profile if you know them. Even if you don't know them, add them and then skill up on them later on. Using myself as an example, I think prior to 2023, I didn't even know AWS. So, but I always added AWS to my profile because in my mind was, if I had experience with one cloud platform, it wouldn't really take me that much to transfer the knowledge to a different cloud platform, which was the case anyway. But again, I still didn't have AWS until 2023, which is when I got this certification for cloud, what's it called, cloud architect. So in some cases, you can still add it there, but as far as you have like the theoretical knowledge of it and you can work towards that skill set, still works for you, right? You don't have to limit yourself to just, oh, because I know XYZ now, I cannot add other ones. There's a famous saying, fake it until you make it. Even though I don't especially, endorse that saying, but in some cases it's valid because if you don't put yourself in a situation where you want to be, you would, in most cases, you wouldn't work to get to where you want.
Okay. You go good. Just like on your good. Ugbu a na. On the other side. This up.
All right. So all of that aside,
Like I more
I
than
thought
I
about the
want.
about section.
I know.
I thought about the about section.
I ended the ever the go cup last year. This cup was the one. Last year ended the ever go so. Driver and that's in the get driver on the truck driver. I get a back up. Okay, how
All right. So that's what I was saying. Okay. Please stop muting me, please. Patrick, I think you're muted. Don't worry. I'm fine. Just thank you. Please don't mute me. Okay. That's what I was saying. What else about your header section, your about section? Always make sure that you add top skills. Ensure that I'll suggest that add as for each section, add as much information as you can, right? Try to fill out as many sections as possible because it was fills up your profile. If you feel that you're lacking in any section, right, I think that is a wake up call to you to go and do some extra work to get what to put in those sections. For example, again, using myself as an example, prior to like 2023, 2022, I didn't have a lot of things under awards and what's it called? Awards and honors, right? So rather than just complaining about it, I think I now went on to put in more effort into getting some, which is now I see all of these sections now filled up. So there's always going to be something that you can do to improve your profile. That's the bottom line of it, about it. The next thing I want to say will be your feature section. It's very crucial, very, very crucial. I didn't know how important this was until I started putting much more intention into making my profile much better. For your feature section is very, very important. I think your feature section will probably be things that highlight your skill sets or highlight your thought leadership or highlight your expertise. One of the first things to put on your feature section would be, in my own opinion, would be like a slideshow about you, a quick one. Again, you can go to Canva, right, and look for samples of this, search for them, and just explore your creative side. In my own case, I'm going to show you one of the ones I did, and at least I've pinned it to my feature section on my profile. So you can always create like a carousel of a short about you, just so that people get to just know you. And this goes without saying. I think it's on the same on almost every platform, almost every social media platform. But again, this is talking about LinkedIn or LinkedIn. If you're going to post anything on LinkedIn or any social media platform for that matter, always make sure that it's accompanied with, you know, media, right? Media in this case could be images, videos. In some cases, if it's popular enough, if your audience is into that kind of stuff, you could even attach things like podcasts, audio podcasts that could still work. But obviously, the ones that flies the most online will be probably pictures or videos, short videos, tutorial videos, quick sessions like this, right? Always make sure that your whatever you're writing is accompanied with that. You will see a lot more increase in impressions. For example, this is a post I put out on, when was it, 2 months ago, and you can see in 2 months it's gathered over 887 impressions, meaning that this thing reached over 1,000 people, and out of those 1,000 people, 807 of them took action to either view my profile, click on this, react to my post, repost the post, comment, whatever it is. So this means that if I keep at this momentum, I'll probably reach much more audience. I think that there was even one of mine that's reached almost 8,000 impressions plus. But again, since we're talking about, things to add in your featured section, if you don't have anything at all to add there, do some. This is one of the quickest things you can do, right? Go on Canva, take a quick break, explore on Canva and create a quick listing about yourself. I like to keep it as 5 slides, right? The first one is your cover page, the last one is your closing page. Then the 3 slides in between should be for content. Break everything you are doing into three. So again, you know, even if you don't know how to do it, use Meta on WhatsApp, use ChatGPT, right? You can even input your CV there and say, break my profile into 3 slides. I start them into 3 bullet points, whatever it is. But you can add more pages if you want, right? But I feel like the longer the pages are, the more you lose track of your audience. So you want to keep it short and straight to the point, except maybe you cannot help it. So in my own case, you know, cover page, about me, what do I do, my impact, recognition, where I be recognized, places I've appeared in, at least my name has appeared in all of these places at least once, plus some other more, some other ones. Then lastly, let's connect. Where can I reach me? My email address, my name, maybe a QR code to see more about me, quick summary about yourself. Once you do something like this, you go to your profile and pin it there. What happens is anybody that comes to your profile, obviously when you put it out there on LinkedIn, then maybe you repost it, make it a post, you post it out there. What happens is when people come to your profile, like you come to my profile now, right? You will just see it there as one of the featured posts. You could always let me show how you can like change the positions. So let's say I want to put this one now as the first one, right? Instead of this crest awards I want. Say I click on the pencil icon. Yeah, I think my internet is a bit slow today. Okay, take that back. So you can see for each one, right? You see this arrow here at the top, this arrow, click on it. It will then show you all of the posts or articles or whatever it is you have added on your featured. It will list them out. And then you can drag and drop and arrange the way you want. I think that remind me, I probably just arrange mine as well. So let's say I want to keep my portfolio or my slideshow at the first one. Just drag to the top. Just drag it to the top. So that way now, once I all right. So that way, once I close this, it's going to automatically rearrange this list and put the this thing on the top as the first one. Yeah. So you see, it just took a bit of time because of the internet connection, but so that'll be a quick way to rearrange your listing. You can keep doing it occasionally, or if you don't mind it, just arranging itself, that's fine. But my point here is for your featured, try to always highlight things that are that speak about you in a good light. If you won awards, maybe if you won awards and then the places you've won awards from mentions you on LinkedIn or whatever it is, make sure mention those places, tag them, pin it to your featured list or your featured section. That way, when people come, you see, they don't even need to scroll to your. I've been I think there's been a time when somebody has reached out to me or sent me a LinkedIn message just because they saw one of my featured posts. Not like they even went to my whole profile. So again, this is something that could just speak volume about you, and they could communicate like, okay, this person now knows what they're doing because if he or she has done XYZ and this is what I'm seeing on their featured profile, right? You should correlate with the fact that okay, this person is well versed in their sector. So you can start small, always start small. Yeah, don't let it discourage you. As with everything in this life, if you cannot bear the shame of a student, you cannot have the grace of a master. So start small. Start by doing a quick listening about yourself, and then work upwards to getting more and more stuff. Right? There's always more to accomplish. So when you're also accomplishing them, you're pinning them there. It's like a badge, right? You're pinning them there. People just come, and then even if sometimes they don't even know much about you, but because of the kind of colors, images, the media that they're seeing, they spend time on your profile. Did you know that it takes only 3 seconds for somebody to, for you to get, well, in today's day and age, it takes only 3 seconds for you to get the attention of people. As to show you how much of a short span that we have right now because of technology. Mobile devices have fried our attention span. So meaning that if I scroll through whatever it is, TikTok video, whatever it is, and in 3 seconds your post doesn't get my attention, I'm gone. I will go to something else. So you see, you only have 3 seconds window, which might look like small, but again is a lot if you know how to mix and match things. Lastly, okay, activity is just basically if you post or you comment, those things, which is very good for the algorithm, right? You cannot, if you are not really want to post, I'll suggest start by start, if you not really want to post, I'll start by saying start off by commenting, right? If you see any post that resonates with you, write as a comment, right? In most cases, what I tend to see that works fine is because I like to post every day by 10 a.m. Right? I have an automation that every day it generates posts for me and then gives me. I just copy and paste it to LinkedIn, obviously in my tone of voice to match my CV and everything. What I've realized is in some cases is when I go out on LinkedIn and then maybe see one or two posts and I like their post or comment or repost, right? The comments I leave get impressions, and that in turn makes people to go and check out my profile because I think I have a comment that I put on somebody's post. A very simple comment. I think he was talking about anything automation, some of the nodes, and I was like, oh, these nodes are very important. They are very crucial. Blah blah. Some nice words. And that comment alone got 200 plus impressions. After those 200 plus impressions, I got 20 people that saw my profile that like went to go and view my profile. And away from that anyway, when you when you do that, I think what you're indicating to LinkedIn is that you are available on the algorithm. So even if later on you put you write a post and you post it, what's most likely to happen is at least the person that you've commented on their post will probably go to go and look at your post. Or in some cases, if you return the favor and maybe reposting your post or liking and even give you a comment, which in turn helps your post get now, because if somebody writes a comment on your own post, that comment is visible on their own timeline. So meaning whoever they follow or whoever follows them will see that this person commented on this post. So therefore, if my idolo is commenting on this post, maybe this guy he's commenting on here knows something. Again, it's all a matter. It's all how your perspective is. It's a chain. So you have to think about it because, like I tell most people, like imagine you're the one that is on the other side. How would you react? Say somebody most of us are normal people, right? Normal functional people. Somebody liked my post, I'm going to want to return the favor. Right? It's simple. So I'll probably see whatever I see your post, I comment, I share, I return the favor. But yeah, even though to me I'm returning the favor, but by doing that for your own post or your own algorithm, for your own post, it is going to get visible to more and more people. So a very good way of at least getting into the rhythm of posting would be to try to write meaningful comments, engage meaningfully. Then maybe you can work your way up to maybe writing some small articles or small posts and everything. We'll get to the way like to structure my posts and how I tend to get let them get me some engagements. We'll come back to that in a minute. So basically, activity is everything you've done or your activity on that platform. Oh, it's yes, 6,000 followers. Experience is a crucial area. Experience, as the name already says, is a work experience. What have you done? The things you've done that you've gotten paid for. That's the way I view experience. But some people will argue and say, as far as anything you do, that this thing. I can see the arguments holding water if maybe you've not done a lot of things. Maybe you're still an intern, or you don't really have a lot of traction on things you can say, okay, I've done a lot of this. Maybe you can add some of those involuntary stuff. What I mean by that is, let's say you are let's say you have like a hash note blog, right, where you write your small articles, right? Then this is a platform called hash node. It allows you to write, you can write your blog articles and post there. Again, I would put it in the resource I sent in the group chat. You can write articles and obviously publish immediately. I use it as well. I think I even used it to when I was still trying to enter the whole this thing before I became a writer for Free Code Camp. Yeah. When I was writing some free post, I put it on Hashnode. So if you write on Hashnode, say on your spare time, that is not work experience because you're not actually getting paid for it. I mean, in the end, it is experience. Maybe you can say, okay, it's maybe the experience you got from writing posts led you to getting maybe a job as a technical writer, for example. That still works. But hash note, you writing your small articles on a WordPress blog or hash note is not work experience. Work experience, in my own opinion, is something that you do that, work experience is something that you do that you get paid for, right? So that's people in employment, or even if maybe you have your own company or you are running a small this thing and you get paid for it. That is work experience. But again, if you don't have enough of that and you want to just pad up your CV, you can add some of the other ones. But as soon as you have stuff that are actually worth putting there, you put it there ASAP. I like to say put the most recent 3 to 5 working experiences. So if you have up to 3 to 5, fine, you can add them there. Always put the ones that are the still active first. So if again LinkedIn does it for you, if you see the way LinkedIn does it, any post that you say has ended, it will automatically end it and put it below. So it only puts the ones that are still active on top. So at the moment, I'm still actively a founder for this place, AIT Network, and then obviously a senior dev, a team lead for a company in Nigeria. Every other one has ended. So and the way you write your work experience is also crucial as well because you're trying to communicate value. So you're not just saying, "Oh, I worked in this place," and then I'm like, "Okay, you worked in this place. So what happened? What made you memorable in that place while you were there?" Right? You want to say, "Okay, I worked in SYZ company." Okay, yeah, I mean we all do. Again, this is what I'm saying about Nigeria being a place that just keeps us in the perpetual cycle of working, hustling. We don't think from a perspective of, okay, this is I'm doing, I will need to keep track of them to be able to at least show my value to somebody else. So this is something you need to keep in mind. And a good way to think about this is if you're in your work experience, look at every job that has been given to you has a job description. Your job description on your contract letter that was given to you, that is your what is it called? You can put it as your outline. So if when you were employed you were required to, maybe your job description says you'll be handling your back end, the back end this, you put, well, if it's too much, don't put all of it. Say if it's more than this thing, don't put all of it. I personally suggest putting 3 from your job description and then 2 bullet points should be about statistics. What did the thing you did, what was the positive impact of what you did? Now let's look at, say, my experience in the company working in Nigeria, right? I've been with them for the past 5 years now. Oh wow, that's a long time, man. 5 years now, and you can see where this is when I still created this one initially. You can see a lot of this. I'm still going to come and review this. But one of the things you notice is, obviously, okay, I listed, technologies I worked with and all of that. I think one of the things you notice is LinkedIn allows you to add URLs or media files for the places you've worked. So maybe if you were part of the people that develop an application, you can add a link to the application. You can put screenshots of the images of those applications you worked on. That way, because if you look at my profile, for every job experience I have, there's something is in media there, and either a link or a picture to show that I did these things. I didn't just do it, see proof, and they see pictorial evidence. Even the ones in the UK, their image is there. If the ones in the US, the image is there, right? It will probably be the older ones that don't have much these things, much image because those were like 5, 10 years ago, right? But as of recent, it is good to put all these things there, and then obviously, um, when you're listing your, the experience there, like I said, the way I think about this is put a quick description of what that job entails. Maybe you were required to be the backend developer for XYZ place, right? You handled, one or two team members and all of that stuff. Put 3 bullet points of what, at least from your contracts, what were the things that you were supposed to do, right? In my own case, I was supposed to be leading a team, being part of the core development team, and spearheading development. Three these things. But now, the remaining 2 bullet points will be about your impact. It's like it's clear. This is what the job is supposed to be about. These are three things I was supposed to do. And now look at this, at least me that have been here for the past XY period. Look at the impact of what I have done. Maybe while I was here, I did an application and then we were able to get X thousand users or X hundred users. Or while I was here, there was an API that was too slow, and I fixed it, and then it improved efficiency by 10%, 20%. Let there be clear stats so that you're not just saying it in with your mouth. You're saying these are statistics that can be verified if need be. You know, Again, I think one of the things that also communicates expertise, right? And let's go down. Okay, look at this one from the UK here. I was part of these things. I was part of the team that developed a product that service 30,000 users. So right on the bat, you can see, okay, this person said, oh, this is a very big claim. I'm not saying it to you again. These are proofs here, right? You can even verify from my team lead or whatever it is, and likewise the one too in the US. So bottom line is, whatever you're putting there, try to put as much stats as possible. Stats are very key. Stats are very key. It's very, very key because it will give you a lot of, you know, backbone. And I think we'll probably be running a session very soon. So the last part I want to talk about will be how to write posts on LinkedIn. Again, I'll share one or two of my most recent posts and how I tend to do it. And then I think we'll just take some questions and wrap up the session. So that should be all. So scrolling through LinkedIn, let's look at this post. Let's take it from one that came from my own profile. Okay, I think let's use this one. This is our today's session anyway, so we can use this one. So when writing a LinkedIn post, right, I personally think about three things. I think about the hook. The hook is the first sentence you see that attracts your attention. I think it was one I saw that was so outrageous. I was laughing when I finally read the full post. I was laughing because I was like, this hook is just outrageous, but the content itself is. I think the one was something like I don't know if I find it again, but it was along the lines of uh, that because obviously it's weird to see somebody curse on LinkedIn. And I think she said something like she didn't give a fuck, something like that. And obviously all of us are like on this is LinkedIn, a professional looking platform, and all of us do and seeing curse words. Everybody were like, because when I looked at the number of comments, I think she had over 700 comments. And I'm sure that most of the people that commented there were probably because of how outrageous that hook was. I'm not saying she just got there and write, very, 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 very controversial hooks, but my point is your hook is going to be what will keep people. Again, remember what I said about the 3 seconds thing. So you need something that will catch people's attention. Like, okay, again, for example, look at this post, right? If I just put this text there, I used to think that a great student was enough. Then I learned the hard way, right? So it's catchy. It will hook you in. Okay, let's see what's happening here. But then again, I went a step further to add a visual this thing. a visual hook there, which is a light bulb. Again, emojis seem to be a thing. So a visual hook there, a light bulb, a brain, maybe a red amber alert sign, something like that. But because what happens is your brain treats you to think, oh, this is weird. This should not be here. And it's funny because our brains always want to correct what we think is wrong. So because you might say, okay, this looks weird. So already you've captured your audience attention by just that particular small gesture. So always want to keep your hook interactive and catchy so that people tend to say, okay, let me even see what the person is talking about. And then every other thing that follows should be in the aspect of storytelling. Storytelling should leave the audience with one of two things. You should leave them with, you should make them feel good about themselves or feel good about reading what you just wrote. Maybe whether it's to, whether they can see yourself in their post or something. It should make them feel good about themselves, and then it should make them want to share this to other audiences that are this available or in their same circle, right? So, for example, you see this one I put now. So, even as I put everything, then I added two pictures. One of this is my face, obviously with the event, and then another thing is my claim. So I'm not just saying, look at, I'll come and show you how to do these things. I'm also saying, even as I'm saying, I'll show you how to do these things. Look at the kind of messages I get that have not been too long ago. So already there's a lot of attraction. So then, which is what led to the whole two reposts and many reactions. I think this is even a repost. Yeah, this is even a repost of the original post. So stuff. So things like that, are what the kind of things that will keep you or help your audience to keep engaged in your post. I think there's some young guys I follow on LinkedIn that one of my students, or I think some of my students have been here, but I think one of them that does it well is he goes by the name Desmond. Desmond tends to post a lot on LinkedIn. So, and I've seen his posts tend to have this, but I think I've seen a lot of younger people too as well on LinkedIn, and they've seemed to crack the code about engagement because I see them pulling a lot of traction, which is not even in a bad light. But I'm not saying as per we could take one or two pointers from them because of the way they have the community gathering, and then they've cracked how to engage on LinkedIn. If you come across one or two of them, maybe I'll just show you that post and how they structure theirs and the kind of colors they use, the kind of things they use to create attraction. All right, I think I've said enough. And oh, wow, 50 people joined today to listen to me ramble on about LinkedIn. So I think I said enough, and I'll just spend the last 5-10 minutes just taking questions if any questions are available. I'll start with Tony's question before we go to the other ones. So, what if you're a professional vibe coder? I think that vibe coding is, for those of us that don't know, aren't in the technical side. What vibe coding is basically you see all these platforms that promise you, oh, if you write, you can just write it in English and then the platform builds an app for you. Right now there's no platform that can do that without any bugs. So my opinion on vibe coding is, if you don't understand the technical part of it, don't vibe code. You end because if you end up using something like Lovable, for example, to build an application, you end up building an application, but you end up spending more time debugging the application. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you come and hire guys like me that know what they're doing, and you pay money. That's just it. So learn programming first. LLMs are just there to help you. Again, it is in the word artificial intelligence. Don't let it replace human intelligence. How do I set up a LinkedIn? Again, take the first step, right? Take the first step. Go on LinkedIn, create an account, put an image, and then if you don't know what to do, like I always like, obviously as you can see, I have chat to push up a company and all of that. If you don't know what to do, take some moments, take a week, take a few days, go on LinkedIn and progressively search for people. Again, you can even go social media many these days. You can go to the search, but even on TikTok, right, and search for your field. For example, I'm into automation and software engineering. So most of the time, whenever I go to any platform, I go to the search bar and search for maybe a keyword. In this case, maybe something like N8N or Python or JavaScript. You will see creators in that space. Follow them and obviously interact with them. You'll be doing two things. You will help to train your algorithm to focus on those things, which is your programming stuff, the things that are important to you, so that you will not start filling your timeline with rubbish things like Regina Daniels, this thing that doesn't matter to anybody. focus on what matters, get a good this so that when you're seeing people in that field that are doing what you, because in the end, if you want to be like somebody, you don't take advantage of people that have not been there. You take advantage of people that have been there and are doing what you want to do. So you look up to them and say, okay, this is how they interact with their audience. This is what works. Then you take it, you propose it to fit your own agenda, your own profile, and then in the long run, you end up having your own followers. Everybody's voice can be heard, but if you except you know what you're doing. So if you don't know what to post, that's still fine. It's a natural process. Follow people on the platforms that you are interested in: Twitter, WhatsApp, Telegram, LinkedIn, whatever it is. Follow people on those platforms. There are people that are there progressively doing things. There are people that are there still fooling themselves. The Everybody is available online. It depends on what you're looking for. So focus on what is important there. Follow people in that field. See what they do what they do. Eventually, you get like become like that. It's not rocket science. So, all right. I think I've answered the first two questions. If you have any other questions, anybody, you can type in the chat or you can ask. Otherwise, I think we have covered some things. Do you? Okay, well, like I said, I will send the document for this session in the chat. Obviously, this video is going to be made available on YouTube, so you can watch it on YouTube, at your own time. If you have any questions, I think I'm more or less available on all platforms, well, LinkedIn and WhatsApp. If you cannot find me on WhatsApp, find me on LinkedIn. So yeah, is LinkedIn the only official job market? No, it's not. But I think it's the most popular. It's the most popular, and it has consistently proven that it is a social media for this thing, for this purpose. Other interesting ones would be Upwork. Upwork too is nice, but I think with Upwork, in my opinion, there are a lot of money grabbing aspects in Upwork. Pay for points for this, pay for points for that. But it's a good platform. I myself have made money from Upwork a couple of times. I think I've made over $1,000 there. Plus I've seen people that made $10,000, even though it's not like my major source of income. But Upwork is there. You can make money from it. I've made money from it before. I think maybe the next one we'll probably look at would be like a much more this year, like a streamlined process of setting up Upwork profiles. You know, but we couldn't do for the one for LinkedIn because the time I'll be take to set it up would be too long. I think the places that the Indians have ruined, if what is the word ruined, would probably be Fiverr. Fiverr used to be good when I joined it initially many years ago, but I think amongst all of them, would probably be Upwork. Upwork is the one that still sort of stands good enough. But there's still top tier jobs. There's still simply hired. There's still Glassdoor, still Angel List. So lots of them. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, although Indeed is more like a job board as against Upwork. Upwork is more like freelance gig. Come and do a gig and get paid. But there are tons of platforms available, and you know. But the bottom line is you have to be intentional about creating a personal brand. What I tend to see a lot of times is I think okay, because everybody wants to be, everybody has a dream of being the best or whatever field they are in, or being the next Elon or the next this thing. Even I myself, I'm one of them. I believe, I want to be the best in my area, but it comes with a level of discipline, I think, sacrifice. I've been in situations where I've probably put up things before, and my this will get very very little followers and everything, or even my platforms are built again small traction. But if you're consistent at something, eventually you will find your audience. Even a clock that's broken is correct twice a day. So it's just a matter of consistent. That's all. Everything I said yesterday, if you do it for 1 week and you stop, you will not see the results. If you do it for a month, you start seeing results. It's not rocket science. So you have to be, and then be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. I think most of the times, what most people do, I used to do, but again, not like I'm saying I'm better than anything, but I used to do a lot was, oh, I may be lacking in an area. Instead of me to be honest and say, oh, I'm lacking in this area, how do I get better at this area? Be it meeting people that know more than me in that area, or maybe engaging in community activities, I would tend to shy away. I'm going to say this out there because I consider myself a very, very quiet person. So, but if you keep quiet, you will be hungry. So, you better get to know how to be much more involved in things. So go out there, network, follow people on the different platforms they're seeing. Look out for things that are interesting, events speaking, events to attend. If you can attend them, go there, meet people like yourself, like myself, that are looking for things as well. The world is full of brilliant minds, but if you're staying in your own circle, you would never know what's happening outside. All right, guys, lots of clapping, lots of thumbs up. I believe at least I've made some sense today for the past 1 hour, 1 minute. And if there are no other questions, I want to tell you guys genuinely thank you for attending this session and listening to me ramble on for LinkedIn about LinkedIn for the past 1 hour. But I genuinely believe that if you can create a very good LinkedIn profile, that is half of your job done. Because again, for a person that's been in the chair of hiring people, if you're telling me you are so good at this and I go to your LinkedIn profile and I cannot see anything that speaks to me that this thing you claim you're so good at is here. It is not you're not even if it's you, you will not hire yourself. You get it gets so and again, if you what I said again, going back, whatever it is, if you feel that oh in this particular area you're lacking, rather than complain, find ways to go about improving that area. The amount of things I've done this year because I was intentional about these things I wanted to do has been astonishing. Right? Even if I did not get to the place I wanted to get to this year, but if I look back and look at the things I have accomplished this year to this point, because one was intentional. So it will take time, but whatever the case is, in due time, everything will come. So thank you guys, and I'll make the template available for those of us in the Talent Impact group. If you're not in the Talent Impact group, please reach out to me on WhatsApp. I think most of you are on the other group for AI Talent Network. Reach out there, and then we'll add some of you to these things. Yeah. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Right. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to me on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp. I'm very active on both platforms. Right. So, and I'm as liberal as they come. Except maybe I'm busy, then I'm probably not responding. But aside from that, it was good having you guys here today, and yeah, see you guys next time.